Hello, welcome back to the Young Lovers channel. Today we bring you a story that may leave you speechless, holding your breath, and even shedding tears. A story of sacrifice, true love, and meaningful silence. Today's title, Wang Yibo's selfless sacrifice for the Xiao Zhan family, fans cry, unspoken true love. In the glittering world of entertainment, where tight schedules and egos often dominate, a decision was made that stopped time. While everyone was waiting for new works, filming schedules, and stunning performances, Wang Yibo quietly stepped out of the spotlight. Not because of a scandal, not because of drama, but because of a call from the heart, for someone more than just a colleague, Xiao Zhan. It all began with the sudden news of a tragedy. One of Xiao Zhan's close family members was reported to have passed away after battling an incurable illness. Behind the scenes, the pain was indescribable. And at that moment, Wang Yibo did something few in the public knew about. He canceled a major film project he had already signed on for, walked away from $1 billion deal, and left to be with Xiao Zhan. No posts, no press conferences, no farewell messages on social media. He simply left. In silence, in solitude. But that is the true meaning of presence. Wang Yibo did not seek public sympathy, he did not chase praise. He simply wanted to be there for someone who had lost their little world. Fans began to wonder, where is Yibo? Why isn't he appearing at the major events that have been announced? Why is his Weibo account silent? But all those questions were answered by a soft whisper from someone at the funeral home, who saw a man in a black hat and hoodie standing quietly in the corner of the room. It was Wang Yibo, accompanying Xiao Zhan in his grief, while everyone else was busy searching for news. For Yibo, Xiao Zhan was not just a stage partner or co-star in the drama that changed their lives. They were friends, souls who understood each other in silence. And when loss enveloped Xiao Zhan, Yibo did not hesitate to choose that friendship, even if it meant sacrificing everything. A few days later, the media finally caught wind of the oddity. This year's Chinese blockbuster film project suddenly announced a change in the lead actor without a clear reason. Wild speculations emerged, but one insider source stated, Yibo withdrew for personal reasons that couldn't be negotiated. He said, "Family is more important than career." Those words resonated, not just among fans, but in the hearts of anyone who had ever felt the meaning of presence. How often does this world demand we appear perfect, to stay strong in front of the camera, even when our hearts are shattered? But Yibo showed that what truly matters is when the camera is off, when there are only two people and sorrow. Xiao Zhan himself didn't say much. In a brief post a few weeks later, he wrote, "Thank you for coming without being asked. For staying without a word." No names were mentioned. No photos were included. But for true fans, they knew who the words were meant for. Since then, fan communities around the world began sharing this story. From Korea to Brazil, from China to America, tears flowed uncontrollably. Not because of the drama, but because they saw that there is still pure love in this world. Friendship that doesn't need a stage to shine. A fan from the Philippines wrote, "I want to love like Yibo. Quietly, completely, and without expecting anything in return." The comment went viral and became a representation of how Yibo's figure had touched millions of hearts, without ever trying to be the center of attention. For nearly 2 months, Yibo barely appeared in public. But when he finally returned, in a small interview, a journalist asked cautiously, "Do you regret leaving all those big opportunities behind?" Yibo simply smiled faintly and replied, "Not all losses are losses. Sometimes, when we're present at the right moment, it's far more meaningful." The answer left the interview room silent. No one could argue. Because in a world chasing fame, Yibo chose to be human. To be present, not just seen. And that is far more valuable. The relationship between Yibo and Xiao Zhan grew deeper after that incident, though it remained unspoken. There were no joint vlogs, no sweet posts. But every time they were in the same room, their gazes sought each other out, like two souls who had weathered the storm together. Now, this story has become something of a legend among fans. Not because of the sensationalism, but because of the truth it holds. That love, in any form, will always find its way even without words, without cameras, and without the spotlight. Some might wonder, why did Yibo have to go that far? Why leave a thriving career for something the public will never see? But that's where the magic lies. Because true love doesn't need witnesses. Because true loyalty doesn't need a stage. What Yibo did was the highest form of selfless love, choosing silence, but healing. In a rare moment, a staff member from the funeral home team shared that there was a young man who came every night, sitting in the corner of the room wearing a mask and a hat. He didn't say much. Sometimes he would bring a thermos of hot tea to give to the man sitting in silence before the altar of ashes. No words were spoken, but every small action contained love that cannot be explained by human language. When the public finally learned what had happened, many felt guilty for having demanded too much from Yibo. They had forgotten that behind the facade of a superstar, there was a gentle soul who was also wounded, who also loved, and who could choose to step away from the spotlight for things far more meaningful. And this story serves as a reminder that celebrities are also human beings who can love in silence, without needing to turn it into content. Yibo and Xiao Zhan's relationship has now become a symbol of hope for many people. In a world that often destroys the basic values of humanity, there is still friendship that remains unshaken, love that does not fade, and sacrifice that is not traded for popularity. They prove that what is most valuable is not how often we are seen, but how deeply we are present for one another. And if one day we see Yibo and Xiao Zhan appear together again, perhaps we won't see them hugging or laughing loudly in front of the camera. But look closely, perhaps we'll see a warm glance, a small smile that's almost imperceptible, and there lies the entire story, without words, without explanation. Only two hearts that know each other, that between them there is a love that was never announced, but has always been there. And perhaps this serves as a reminder for all of us, that in this fast-paced world, genuine attention, a hug in times of sorrow, and the decision to be present without expectation are the highest forms of love. As Wang Yibo has done for a friend named Xiao Zhan. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you feel moved, don't forget to share this video and leave a comment saying, "Thank you, Yibo" below. We never know, maybe one day he'll read it. See you again in the next episode on the Young Lovers channel. Stay warm.